It's such a pleasure to see here in the Makláry Gallery in Budapest the product of our fake news project. I'm a scientist, but I'm also an artist. And for many years, I've been thinking, how do I translate our data-driven artistic work into a language that galleries and museums can interpret, which is canvas surfaces. Much of the work that we did before emerged in the digital space, and I wanted a way to interact directly with the surfaces, with the canvas, with paint. So to achieve that, I reached back to my roots. I'm from Transylvania, and my grandfather was a painter, not an artist, but the one actually who paints the walls. And as a student, I often went with him and helped him. And one of the mediums, or one of the tools he used back then, is the paint roller. Paint roller is really a pattern creation device that you would actually roll down the wall. And it was originally used not for aesthetic purposes, but to hide the inequalities or the unevenness of the walls. As a child, I could be a helper, but he never let me touch the paint rollers themselves. It was a very sophisticated and very accurate work. But now as an adult, I have the opportunity to do so. I ended up not only borrowing the technique, but using more modern techniques, which is 3D printing, to create our own paint rollers. What is our content, however? In this particular project, we focused on fake news. The project has its roots in the COVID epidemic. In my Boston lab, or the Institute of Network Science where I work, and the institute that I helped create many years ago, we have David Lazar, a professor whose area is to understand and track the propagation of fake news. And they focus on a wide range of fake news, from political fake news to COVID-related ones. But we ended up focusing on the COVID fake news because COVID was a universal experience that no matter what part of the world you go to, it has been experienced. And hence it travels across boundaries, across countries. And we ended up analyzing all the fake news that emerged on Twitter during the COVID era. And what we realized is that there were 12 individuals who were responsible for 70% of the fake news. We ended up calling them the 12 fake news apostles. And for each apostle, we created one paint roller. And the roller would actually carry the name of the individual who was responsible for the fake news, and typically one of the key messages that he liked to share, as well as some numbers that correspond to either how many followers it has or how many messages did he put out. What you see in this particular exhibition is a selection of the works that emerged using these rollers. Now, how did these works emerge? I'm a scientist fundamentally, even though I was studying when I was younger to become an artist. But in this case, I ended up invoking a number of young artists here in Hungary, and we rented a large studio where the goal for us was, how do we find the right aesthetics that match the content and also works with the particular medium, which is the paint roller, and eventually interacts in a way that is acceptable with the canvas. And this was 2 years ago, a month and a half long project. And some of the products of that journey, of that big experiment, because I really looked at it as a scientist, that we're not going for a definitive answer. We are experimenting to find the right answer. We have had many trials, we had lots of failures, and we had a couple of successful works that you see here in the exhibition.